So what's up? I'm gonna try to make this like informative, just so it could be a conversation. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people. Sorry, let me clean this off. Um, a lot of people have a lot of questions about virus, and the coronavirus is something that has been around for a long time. I think a lot of people think that the coronavirus is actually like something new. The coronavirus has been around for a long time. Um, the reason why um, I know the information I do is because actually my mother taught me a lot about it. Um, she told me, her and my daughter actually were talking to me about it, and they were talking about how many versions of the coronavirus there are, and how this version of the coronavirus is the 19th, or just came in 2019. SARS is actually a version of the coronavirus. Okay, so remember when everybody had SARS? Everyone was like, worried. Other people that didn't have it. Remember, West Nile was a thing as well. We were worrying about getting it through mosquitoes. With the coronavirus, one of the questions that a lot of people have is, do black people get it? Of course, my mother's black. So there's that. Um, my mother started getting sick maybe, let's see, 2 weeks ago. Now, everybody who's been watching my channel for a long time, you know that my mom has been sick majority of my life. You know, she's on disability. My mother is just ill. She's just been that way my whole life. So contracting something like the coronavirus, I don't think my mother is strong enough to deal with, right? Um, because what we've known about the coronavirus, what's happening in the news is that people who are her age die from this disease. Now, when my mother first got sick, right, sick in this way, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay, and she was sick, and I'm like, let me tell you how she ended up sick at first. Okay, so my mother she was having an ear throat situation to where she couldn't hear out of one of her ears. And it was like this fluid coming out of one of her ears. And so she had been seeing a specialist about her ear for about, I don't know, I went over 6 months, and he was like draining her ear. And so she didn't go to see him for an extended amount of time because we thought her ear was getting better, right? And suddenly something started happening to her ear. Now, mind you, she was fine. She wasn't sick. She wasn't coughing. She wasn't sneezing. Her nose wasn't running. Nothing. She was just her ear. Something was going on with ear. Her fluid was coming out of her ear. And so she went to the ear specialist so he could drain her ear again. And he was talking about how her ear was healing. Now, this is something she just did 2 weeks ago. Okay. When she came back from the doctor's office 2 weeks ago, right? That next day, my mother was so sick. It wasn't like a gradual thing. It was like she was just sick as hell. And so she was sick the first day, second day, third day, fourth day. It was like, okay, do you have the flu or is this a cold? Because I was thinking when the doctor was messing around with her ear, maybe it was an ear, nose, throat type of situation, right? Because he was messing around with her ear. So that's the first thing we thought, right? Maybe it's the ear, nose, throat thing, right? So fourth day come, fifth day come. She's feeling better, right? She's not coughing, nothing is happening. Now, mind you, I went to go get her some Mucinex because I was like thinking maybe she's just coughing because she has a cold, and being around the ear and throat doctor, maybe that's why she is getting, she just has a cold right now. We during this time, this was just 2 weeks ago, so it's not like we didn't know that the coronavirus was around. We just didn't realize that it was inside of the United States yet. Now the Princess cruise ship was close, but it hadn't came to San Francisco yet. Okay, it was just, I guess, still out at sea. So it was the coronavirus was in this place called where's UC Davis? UC Davis is a college here. It's up by Sacramento. Okay, and Sacramento, they were having some cases up there, and so I took her to I went to go get her some Mucinex, right? And I'm assuming this is why she felt better. The medicine, because it stopped her from coughing and she was moving around. Because before that, she couldn't even get out of the bed. She was just in the bed, like she couldn't do anything. Everything was aching. She didn't want to move. She just wanted to just lay there in the bed. So when I got her the Mucinex, for some reason, she felt better. You know what I mean? And she wanted to go out. Now I was like, I don't think you should go outside. You know what I mean? I don't think this is a good idea for you to be outside. But she just kept pressuring me because she just was like, I've been in the house for 5 days. You know, I want to go outside. I want to go outside. And she just seemed like she was feeling so much better because she was just moving around. You know, she was just like happy and moving around and cleaning up. And she was dressed. She had her makeup on and she was just ready to roll. Now, mind you, all this time she been sick. My son not sick. I'm not sick. My daughter not sick. Nobody around us sick. It's just my mom, right? So I take her outside, and it's warm actually because it's been a cold in the bay. Because this is why I was thinking she was sick too, because it was like really hot, and then the day she went to the doctor's office to get her ear checked, it was warm outside. So I thought the change in weather so swiftly was the reason why she got sick. Right. So I was like, this it just a number of things were factoring in why she was sick. And so then when the 5 days went by and she had the Mucinex and she was up walking around, it was warm outside that day too. So we went outside and came back in. Next day, back sick all over again. And she has been sick like that for another 3 days. Now, we was like, do you have the flu? Do you have a cold? What do you have? Do you have the coronavirus? So at first, it was like a joke. You know what I'm saying? It was like, why you sick? You got a coronavirus. Ha ha ha. But maybe we shouldn't be joking about that because, it is the coronavirus and you're older. And it could do nothing. It might not do nothing to us, but it'll do something to you. And she called her doctor. And the doctor was like, okay, wait it out for another day, see what's up. All right. So last night, because this was like two days ago or 3 days ago when she called the doctor, because he was like, you sound like you have the symptoms. Wait it out, see. So last night, I went to go pick up my daughter from work. Now, mind you, my mother was coughing before. But yesterday, the day before that, my mother was coughing so bad that she was gasping for air. And she had like these, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have like asthma or COPD or something like that, and you have an asthma attack and it's a really bad one, after that, your chest and lungs are so sore. That's what she was going through. And she just kept saying, my chest, my chest, my chest. Couldn't breathe, coughing all over the place. Right. So while I'm out, I call. While I go get Dominique, I call and I'm like, do you want anything? Do we need to go to the doctors tonight? I mean, what's going on? She was like, well, I called the doctor and he told me to go to the hospital in the morning. And I'm like, this doctor told her to wait the first time. Now I kind of get why he's saying wait, but at the same time, you don't want to wait because you don't know what's going on and you don't want her to just suddenly, people are just passing away so quickly from that. So I'm like, what? Why does he keep telling you to wait? So anyway, he tells her to wait to go to the hospital. Now, I'm asking her, do you want to go to the hospital or do you want to go to the doctors? And she's like, we got to call first, whatever we do. We got to call first. I was like, are you sure? Because I just don't, like, she's not coughing as bad as she was, but then again, the reason why she wasn't coughing, I mean, she was coughing so bad yesterday, was because she didn't take the Mucinex, right? So all of this time where I thought she was feeling better was because she was taking the Mucinex. So I'm like, if the Mucinex is making you feel better, then you don't have the coronavirus. This is just an assumption. Cause you can't, cause you really don't know, you know? And I'm like, well, you feeling better, but at the same time, when you stop taking the Mucinex, you start coughing all over again, all over again. This can't be the flu, because if it was the flu, me, my daughter, and my son would have it by now. That's not how the flu works. You know, it's a virus. You pick it up. We in close proximity to each other. If my mother had the flu, me, my son, and my daughter would have it, right? Because and she's had this for like 2 weeks now. So it's just like, by this time, either my son would have started coughing by now, or I would have started coughing by now, or my daughter, somebody, you know. And so she's the only one. And so when I called last night when I'm gonna go pick up my daughter, she was like, I already have some Mucinex. You know, I will, you know, take that, and we'll see. So when I first got back to the house, she was coughing lightly. She wasn't coughing as bad. It was a like ugh, you know, like I was like worried, like don't cough on me, please. But she wasn't as bad as before she took the Mucinex. So my thing is, as Black people, as African American people, we usually don't really hit the doctors first. You know what I'm saying? We go get some Robitussin and think, oh, we're fine. You know, and my mother's been in and out of the doctors my whole life, in and out of the hospitals, hospital stays for 6 months at a time. And so with this, I really just I know something is wrong. Um, I want her to go, but you can't get tested more than once. They don't not have a lot of test kits. So you can't get tested more than once. And you got to make sure that that's what's happening before you get tested. And I want to share this process with you guys, not because, you know, whatever negative thing you guys could think could possibly be happening, but I want to share the process. I don't think I want to show my mother sick. You know what I mean? I don't think that, but I'm just going to tell you guys as we go along with this to see, you know, how this goes. But she has all of the symptoms. She keeps saying she doesn't have a fever, but I'm like, how do you know you don't have a fever? You have not taken your temperature. She keeps saying she doesn't have a fever, so she doesn't have it. I'm like, that's not a determining factor with this. And so we're just waiting to see what the doctor wants to do, the hospital wants to do. And this would be, I think, the first case of an African American woman having it. I know a Black man has had it. An NBA player has it, and so they've on the season, the rest of the NBA season. And I believe a 21-year-old kid who was visiting China. I think he contracted it, and basically his body just naturally, his immune system just naturally handled it. And it's a lot of people out there that are saying, you know, Black people don't get it. You know, you are a child of the sun. You know, you're not going to get the coronavirus. I do want to say that the coronavirus is probably affecting African American people very different than it would an Asian person or a white person, because we're just, you know, built different. You know, so the homelessness population here, where you have people just walking in these streets, you never know. It could be African American people who are homeless inside of your city that have the coronavirus right now, and they can't really get any treatment. Speaking of treatment, even if my mother, right, test positive for the coronavirus this morning, um what they gonna do? Quarantine her. It's basically it. There's no cure for it. There's nothing that they can do. If she's having trouble breathing, they'll put on a respirator, or try to help her with, with her breathing. But outside of that, what possibly could they do? There's no cure for it. So we just got to trust that my mother's immune system just knocks it out. And that's the thing that I'm concerned. My mother has survived so many things. My mother is a strong woman. She is about to be 60, and she has, survived a lot. I've seen her survive a lot. But my mother does not survive this. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I don't know how that's going to affect me and my kids. So I don't want to think in that way. I just want to figure out what's the best way to take care of her. And the first thing is trusting the hospital. But the problem with that is she was not sick before she went to the doctor's office. So taking her back to the very place that she ended up, her primary care physician, she went to see her primary care physician and has been sick ever since. And that's the problem. That's what I'm struggling with as far as, my mother being in the care of her own physician or some hospitals. And we're going to see how it goes. And I'll let you guys know up to date, date to date, see what happens. Maybe when I give you guys another update, I'll let you know exactly what's going on with her. But she just, I don't know. I just hope her body just takes care of it. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if they're gonna, like, if she tests positive, 9 times out of 10 they're probably gonna test me, my son, and my daughter because we're in close proximity to her, and that's gonna be the next step. And I just hope that she doesn't have this. I hope that this is just the flu, but it, I just don't see this just being a flu. What I'm seeing her go through, I don't think is the flu. It just doesn't seem like that's what that is. But I will be sure to, like, you know, keep you guys posted about it. Definitely. Um, Again, I appreciate, like, prayers. Like, please, prayers, positive vibes, no negativity, uh, no, like, conspiracy theories or fandom stories about my mom, stuff like that. Like, people try to do that. Just keep a positive mind and encouraging words for me and my mom. If you want to email me, if you want to, ask me questions, you can, and I'll just, answer them. You can email me, and I'll answer. Um, but yeah, we're just waiting for, like, basically to take, the test and stuff like that. So I'll let y'all know what's going on. All right. Bye.